Hello everybody and welcome back to a new episode of Yap Sesh. Today is a special episode because I actually wrote something down for this one. I'm going to be talking about how to structure a D&D session. Right? I have a foolproof plan that I've been using for years. It saved my sanity like 1,000 times. And I want to teach you guys the method, right? Because this method's crazy. So I hope you guys enjoy this one and let's get right into it, shall we? Let's talk about what you need to actually start a D&D session, right? I'm not talking about a campaign. That's for another video. Let's talk about setup, right? What do you need to set up a D&D session? Sometimes the setup is a campaign. A session can be anything from a epic final battle to a roleplay segment to a murder mystery. A session is what you get together with and play with your friends. Let me tell you the method. Most DMs, when you start out, at least this was me, is that you come up with an idea of what you want, right? And you basically create this insane game design level thought experiment. Most of the time it doesn't go as you expected. Sometimes it goes better, sometimes it goes worse. Sometimes you get players who are uncooperative, sometimes things happen and it doesn't end up the way you want it to. And that's okay. So then, how do you make a good session? Because this sounds like a lot of stuff to do, right? Because if you want to write everything out, does that mean you have to write out every possibility? No, you don't. Let me explain. You need 5 things. I like to call it... What do I like to call it? I don't freaking know. The 5 things, okay? Stick with me here. Here are the 5 things that you need. And I'm being like for real. No jokes. The first thing you need to have a good session and to create the ideal session is the idea. You need an initial concept and idea for, let's say, the episode, right? You can't just start a session without an idea. Sometimes a session is a part 2. Maybe the last session was a party entering a dungeon, encountering a boss, and they just got to the boss and you ran out of time. So the next session is a boss fight. You already went into this session with expectations and an idea. Sometimes it's setup, the beginning of a campaign, or you just need some filler time with a few friends and the whole party can't arrive. But every good D&D session starts with at least an initial idea. Now here is number 2. You need NPCs, you need characters, right? You need to fill this world and this session with people. You can't just have a session without anybody. You need things to happen. Characters to fight, NPCs to encounter, monsters to vanquish. Even if it's like a little Grimbly, it's still a character. It's still an item or a thing that you put onto this playing field. Because here's where the problem lies. It's number 3. What is the third biggest component of a session? Free will and its consequences, right? As omnipotent dungeon masters, we can't control what our players want because free will is what makes D&D fun, right? Playing with your friends as a cooperative story, not as your adventure. As a dungeon master, you're a curator. You're not a dictator. Your players and their actions interact with everything that you do. You can have the best plan in the world for a jailbreak. Give them like 40 different options to escape, but then one of your players just gets a nat 20 and no clips through the wall and blows up the prison. That's happened to me before, not even joking. Number 4. Another big aspect of what you need in a session, and it's the sandbox. This is the thing that's a little controversial. Some people meticulously plan their sessions, but my advice to DMs is that you design your session like a sandbox, right? Everything I told you, the components of a session, are like the pieces of a Lego set. The players are the people you build it with. Of course, you can follow the instructions, which you most of the time do, but once you're done with that set, bro, Hogwarts Castle just turned into the battleground where Batman fights Darth Vader. It's ban for ban. And then the 5th part of a session is the action. Whether it is character interaction, a battle, maybe a little silly-willy thieving, you as a DM create a sandbox. And this sandbox where your players have free will to explore all they want, they interact, and create actions. And if you play all of these parts correctly and you use all 5 parts of a session in tandem, you can craft the perfect D&D session for you and your friends. That's the method I'm teaching you all today. So, bear with me. Mind you, this is just my opinion. So, just saying, you can listen to me or you can't. It doesn't matter to me. But I'm gonna be real. I think this is quite ingenious. It is. How am I going to show you guys this? For my audio viewers, I will describe it. But for my visual viewers, let's go play with some Legos. Welcome to the sandbox, everybody. I bet you none of you thought we would be playing with Legos in today's episode, except for you, Steven. But you're a freak, so. Anyways, all jokes aside, let's start with the first point, which is the idea, right? Our adventurers need to defeat a crazy villain by stealing something. Boom, that's the idea of the session. Our heroes need to defeat crazy villain stealing something. All right, let's work with it. Here we go. Let's say this is already part of a campaign. So what do we need first? The characters, the NPCs. Who's the big bad I'm choosing? Oh yeah, Bill Cipher. Boom, Bill Cipher. Who are our heroes? You ready? Jay, Batman, Cole, Lloyd, right? We got our characters now. But there needs to be more characters for our session, because the idea is that I have in mind is a heist, right? So we need guards. Who will be the guards? Oh, what about Lord Garmadon? I got another guard in mind. What about Deathstroke? And just like that, we have our characters. Now, creating a villain is what we talked about last time, and I'll soon talk about how to create a campaign. But right now, you've created a villain, you've created little mini villains, you have a cast. Now we need to show it all in motion. So, what is the next step of creating the perfect session? It is free will and its consequences. What most people imagine, or at least when I used to be a fledgling little boy, a little baby boy DM, you have an idea in mind. These guys steal something, right? Let's say it's this cloth, right? These guys steal this to defeat this guy. They have to defeat these two to get the cloth and then defeat him, right? But the thing is that free will has its other choices. What if Jay just goes, you know what, Justin? I don't care anymore. I'm going to go over here, right? But you didn't plan for anything to be over there. You only planned for this. So then you scramble. You're like, okay, there's something going on over there. But I'll figure it out later. But then he's like, because one of your players has already done something else. Okay, I'm going to go over here. And then it's all chaos. Everything in shambles. And even if you have Bruce Wayne over here still doing the plot, everybody else is doing their own thing and the session unravels. Here is where the best part comes in, right? Because these are independent characters, independent players in this playing field that you've created. So, let's get creative, shall we? Here is our sandbox, where you can put all of your little guys together. And mind you, even though I'm showing this literally, you do this figuratively. Maybe even literally if you got miniatures. You give people a plethora of options. Let's say everybody got to steal this pillow. You put this pillow all the way at the top. All the way up here, right? You gave them a goal and you created a location for the players. You can start all the players here. You start the players in a controlled location. You need guards. Obviously, it's going to be guarded by somebody, right? If they have to steal the pillow. So you have someone guarding the pillow, right? But then also you can be like, oh, but what if there's other ways to steal the pillow? And because of that, there's another way up, like a secret hidden door, right? And this secret hidden door has to be defended by somebody else. And now you have a place for the second guard. You've just crafted a setting, characters, plot, and not to mention, given them the ability to be creative as players. Now you need to have the action. Here is where the interesting part comes in. You've already created this world. You've described everything from the waterfall, from the trees to the gazebo, and now the players have the ability to go wherever they want. Because as long as you've described something, like, oh, there's a secret door, there is a tree. They'll be like, oh, okay, I want to check out the tree. And maybe another player will be like, oh, okay, let me go straight to the gazebo, right? And this allows you as a DM to start going like, okay, you reached the gazebo and now you know what could possibly happen. Maybe he could talk to him. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he just fell off the set, which he just did, right? Anything can happen in this sandbox that you've created. Because when you restrict yourself to a straight line of storytelling, you limit the possibilities of your players. And here's where the best part comes in. Now, what I do in sessions, this is advanced, is while I have a sandbox going on with the initial plot, the idea, the conception, everything going on, I usually have stuff happening in the background. This is what I do to keep my sessions and my world alive, to feel unique and special. While the plot's going on, let's say that Bill Cipher would be here too. Let's say he's just chilling up here, right? Right up there on top of the gazebo. And he will be up there, and he is up there. Let's say that in the campaign, Bill Cipher is the king of gazebos, and he lives on top of this gazebo. Well, he would be logically up there. You do not remove that fact of the story. Even if you don't want your characters to fight Bill Cipher yet, he will always be up there. Let me tell you why. Because this gives opportunity. Because what if one of your characters, like Batman over here, goes, I'm gonna go up to the top of the gazebo. And you're like, no, that's a bad idea. But then they do it anyways. And now they fight Bill Cipher. And now you've introduced the villain, right? Some people don't let that happen because it ruins the story. But what I'm challenging you, if you're an experienced DM, and what I do, is I let it play out, right? Because your initial goal of stealing the cushion still exists. They still need to take the cushion to defeat Bill Cipher. So now it's become way more complex, and your players caused it. So now Batman and Cole are fighting Bill Cipher while Jay and Lloyd have to find a way to sneak into the gazebo and steal the pillow, and it becomes a race against time. And your initial session, which is a heist, now turned into a high stakes heist for the fate of your characters. And if you don't want it to be like a final battle or anything of the sort, have it be they obtain the pillow, maybe Bill Cipher leaves. And it gives you another opportunity for these characters. If you structure your D&D sessions like a sandbox game, like if you're playing with Legos, with your characters, your opportunities, and your actions, MacGuffins, your sessions will turn into a fictional playtime for you and your friends. All right, we're back. So that is how to build a really interesting and dynamic session for your players as a DM. Now, mind you, this is just my advice. You don't got to follow it. But I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves while you were here. Anyways, I'll be back next week. I hope you guys enjoyed. See you on the next one. Peace.